Okay. Welcome to a very social distance podcast over Discord.
Hello, everybody.
We were gone for
We
two
neither of us have
weeks.
COVID.
Yeah, which is funny because we're playing Minecraft tomorrow with your friend, and then whatchamacallit.
Um, what else are we doing? I think we were gonna try to do a podcast, but then he was like, "Meh,"
Maybe he
or
said maybe. So I was like, okay, if he doesn't want to do it, then like yeah,
yeah. I think we'll just do the
yeah,
Minecraft thing because that's probably easier, and then it'll
because
we'll
I
get a
yeah.
chance to meet each other and have everything set up for that.
Is he the one that lives down in Texas, or is he the one in upstate New York? Or no, upstate New York
He
was Zach, right?
Upstate New York, Zach. He's the
Yeah.
one in Texas, yeah, and he's still
Okay.
looking for an apartment. So if you're still willing,
Yo,
we could find something in Stanford when he comes
I
back.
I really I really do want to get an apartment in Stanford, but by the time that happens, right, probably
Yeah.
have to go back up the stores.
Yeah, that's true. Oh
So
fuck.
yeah, but we'll see how the summer plays out, right? So if the summer plays out correctly, we could get an apartment like from there, but then I'll pay like a decent amount of rent, but like I think Alex should probably take over that spot if you want to, just because he's probably would be down here still.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
I don't
I
want to commit
mean,
2 hours to fucking stores.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, no. That'd be a fucking pain.
Yeah,
Um,
because like commuting to the city isn't bad at all from Stanford because it's in the main station and like you probably have to go in until like senior year. You're probably doing a lot with like your own sort of thing anyway. So you're probably working from home a bit.
yeah, we've got like there's a couple things like thesis years coming up, so it's like they're getting us ready for that. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah,
Yeah,
I've got a couple plans over the summer that's like
yeah. My thesis is coming up for the next semester. I was like, yeah, don't know. I don't remember about doing that, but yeah, fucking that's happening. Feels so
yeah,
short.
exactly.
We're both juniors, and it's like the job market's scary. I don't think we're going to do anything much, but we still have the studio. We have the studio to grow.
Yes, that gives
That's
us
the
something to
best thing,
do
man.
and have something to look forward to. So that's awesome.
Yep.
I will say
Oh,
it's like after school's over, it's just like,
when we actually just start like actually working on shit like constantly and like day to day, and not actually have to worry about like finishing a homework assignment due the Sunday night
yeah, oh my God. And I don't have to worry about 50 different subjects that have nothing to do with what I want to do
with
for a
your main
job.
profession. Exactly.
Yeah,
Oh
it's like
Christ.
that's the best thing of all, honestly. After this
Yeah.
semester, I'm gonna be so happy. Because let me tell you, fuck me. There's so many classes that I'm just like,
Right.
I have no expertise whatsoever, and this is
Yeah.
really annoying.
I'll say this though. I have one class in particular that's it's called Advanced Motion Media. So it's like you can do anything you want really. It's like basically portfolio work with
Oh, cool.
lessons inside of it. So like I'll send you the stuff that I did for this assignment with textures. I kind of hate
Gotcha.
working with textures because like with the textures that she gave us, right? It's images, right? So like you have to overlay and like do the multiplier, like soft lighting kind of stuff, and that kind
Mm.
of just pissed me off because like I could just done this inside like actual like my clip studio, like that's like less of a burden.
Mm-hmm. But it's just he's giving you the hard way around,
Yeah,
which is like,
she's throwing us through the fucking loop just because like, oh, this is how they do it for like motion graphics. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but like I don't think even I well no, I'm not gonna say we're not gonna do motion graphics. I think motion graphics is a good like income source for the studio, but I don't think we're just gonna be like our main kind of spark for it, you know?
I mean, it could expand our web, but obviously that's not going to
Oh
be
yeah,
what our
no.
main
Like
priority is.
even on the website, right? I put together like, oh, we have New Age Exorcist, then you have the sort of video game parody like as a bulk thing, and then you have
We got
like
the
motion
shorts, and then we
graphics.
got the actual
Yeah,
series.
motion graphics and like the actual kind of like transition stuff, like streaming and stuff, or like because I do a lot of the streaming stuff, right? I do a lot of my own transitions. I do a lot of like After Effects work in Cinema 4D. Like that's
Yeah.
fine. It's just paying for the software, right? Is that overall, if we invest into the software, right, we need to make sure we price that out constantly within the clients. So like, I don't think, right? Do you actually
Yeah.
learn this stuff like inside like a bit like a strategies kind of class when you try to do like your like budgeting for like certain things or no?
We go over contracts. We go over, knowing our self-worth and knowing like what our, like how to price ourselves, like
Yeah.
how we
Well,
we
yeah, it's like one
charge
of
for
those.
each. Yeah.
It's like you always go above union.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if we're given a job, and like, and if we know the specifics of like what kind of like what that entails and how much time
Yeah.
it does, then we're like taught how to kind of come up with our
Manage.
own
Yeah.
price range on how that works and like what we think what's fair and what's not. Just so we're not fucking scammed. But
All
obviously,
right.
if there's no work,
So,
then
all right. So for like a standard freelance job, you have to do keyframes, just the keyframes. What do you think you should be paid for that for a standard TV show? Keyframes of
I
like
don't
2 to 3
know.
scenes.
2 to 3 scenes. I have to look back it up. Oh, it's been so long. uh, oh my god, I have to go back and check. Please, no.
The
uh,
math. What we're talking about, like the
yeah,
range of like 3,000, 4,000.
yeah. Depends on the show too.
True.
Um, if it's an action show, um, then it might be a little less, because action in itself isn't as high priority as, say, more emotional scenes,
Yeah.
like Disney, when characters are having go through an emotional moment, or it's a very big character moment, then people who are more important for the job will be assigned to that task rather
Mm.
than someone who's like just an actual animator. Not to discredit
No, 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 no. Yeah, yeah.
animators in any way, because action itself can tell the story perfectly well.
There's
Just
different. Yeah, it's like two different stories you have to do. Like you have to balance out the story as well as like the action sequences.
yes, you gotta make it engaging without
Yeah.
making it overwhelming for the people. And there's so many. It's like such a different thing, and there's character animation, and then
Yeah.
but just in that alone, there's like action character animation and emotional character animation. It's
Yeah.
like, what do you want to prioritize?
That is, yeah.
Um, and then there's the effects animation, which is highly sought after, if I recall. People like that a lot.
Like yeah, honestly, I think I'm trying to gear my portfolio towards that FX and like compositing, just because I think there's
Yeah,
just a lot more room for me to work and like to sort of like kind of
it's
break
fun.
into it, you know?
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
okay, visual effects is hard if you don't know how it works.
yes, I would say that it's definitely tricky. That if you have no experience with it at all, it's like you're being told like do this, and you're like, what the fuck?
Make a large impacts and like it's like okay, a large impact how? Like you want the camera to shake, you want this sort of feel to it, or do you want like sort of like a fast beating motion, you know? It's very different
Yeah,
like how they categorize it.
when
Well, a
someone
lot
just what was it? Sorry.
yeah, but a lot of my stuff is more of like explosions and like physically like VFX work, you know?
Yeah, it's so hard to like, especially in this industry, to interpret what someone says and give it form, because it's just like, oh yeah, I want character A to punch the ground and then leave a shockwave, and maybe some dust plumes, and like, okay,
Yeah.
well, how deep's the crater? How many
How
cracks are
yeah, how
there?
much cracks
Like,
are
how's
like
the
what camera
smoke?
angle am I working with, right? From the storyboards, like what do I have to work with is what you're trying to get at,
Yeah,
right?
and it's like, what other
Yeah.
added? Yeah, exactly. Like, what other added stuff? But obviously, that could be left for that's like the director's thing. Like, right, the
Yeah.
director comes up with the actual idea, but then like it's up to the people below to kind
Oh,
of
to
refine
figure it
it
out. Yeah.
and give it like what it actually will look like.
Yeah, because
Um,
like when you say like, oh, create a shockwave crater in the ground, I'm like, okay, it's like a really like sort of wide angle, kind of like the curving of the
yeah,
horizon line, and then I just kind of feel like you get the cracks, you get the wind, and then you get the dust at the end. That's how I
yeah,
picture it.
exactly. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just it's dependent.
Yeah, working in
Mm.
teams is hard. I'll say that. I don't.
It
I hate.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
just like I don't want to. I just gotta want to do like some of the work and be like, yeah, here you go. This is my part. You need to carry the rest of the project, this project, and
Yeah,
do your jobs. I also feel like right. So like in school, there's no sort of like there's no sort of like pass or fail. It's not really a pass or fail, you know, where it's like
hmm,
there's obviously going to be like certain things where it's like oh you this has to be this certain quality of expectations, right? And I
yeah.
do think that the school should teach you the sort of like expectations of the workplace.
Yes. And it definitely like, well, they do teach us in SVA. It's like, always be respectful, don't burn your bridges.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and just do the work that you're assigned. Obviously, if you have questions, ask, because you don't want to come in
You
with a
don't,
work and
yeah.
they'll
Like,
be like, what the fuck is
fuck is
this?
this? Why did you ask any
But
questions?
yeah, I mean, but there's a level of expectancy to perform, but obviously, you're in it together with the people you work with. and it's a matter of just communication. I think that's the biggest thing they taught us was just you got to talk to people, which honestly for me, I still haven't perfected, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a hard thing, but especially nowadays. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's different. But yeah.
Uh, yeah. That's school. School's been rough. I'll send you the things I did for like the other class that I had, which is what you call it. It
Uh,
was some texturing stuff. I was like, yeah, from before. But what have you been doing
oh
this
yeah.
week? I guess.
Well, so for those who don't know, I've got like so starting third year, classes this time around are a lot more literature based, like just a lot more writing,
I hate
um,
that. I hate that.
less hands on stuff. Like last semester, I had like stop motion and figure
Yeah.
making, and that was super fun. Now this feels like a proper third year. Like I remember back in high school, like I had a rough junior year. And this time around, I was like, oh man, this is actually pretty nice. I'm having a good time. And then second semester, fucking sucker punches me in the gut. It's like,
It's like
have
spits in your
fun,
face.
kid.
Yeah, have fun.
Oh man. To give you the general lowdown, it's like the classes themselves are okay overall. Some classes are just really boring. I have programming with Java for one. The teacher's nice, but it's
Oh
just
no.
it can be really just taxing.
Yeah,
Because
like
every all my classes
reading
are
and
at
stuff.
7:30 to 9, and I'm like, I'm out of it.
7:30 to
And
9 p.m. We'll say that p.m.
PM, yes, PM.
Yeah.
Let me clarify. Thank you. And then I've got a class on Saturday, which is like visual development, which is basically like we have to make our own like design Bible or whatever, which has been surprisingly like our teacher himself is a nice guy, but for one, he has high expectations, and two, he is very strict in certain regards to like work submission wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't
Is he like a
have
dead
like
a deadline person?
yes, if you don't get
Like
it in on the day, doesn't count. Or like he'll like he let it go
dock
for the first
points.
week, but after that he's like okay, well, I'm not gonna regrade it. So have fun. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
holy shit. And like he gives up a lot of work, like unbelievable amounts. The equivalent of like 10 finals for like this one class I had last semester, we had to do for like the first week. And I was like, this is some grade A
Yeah.
BS, but okay, sure. All right.
Dude, that
Uh,
sucks though. I do think like a lot of the stuff that I have is reasonable. Like I don't think like there's a lot that's like kind of like out there. But I do have to like there's large scale projects that kind of take the multiple weeks going upwards.
hmm Yeah, it's a lot harder towards the end. It
Yeah.
starts to get heavy loaded. Yeah.
So like
My
I have a
classes.
class.
Oh,
Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead. Go. You go ahead. Ron. Go first.
Oh, I was gonna say just real quick, like my classes are just kind of front loaded first. Like some of my teachers are like, yeah, if you just get most of your work done in the first couple of weeks, you don't have to worry about the last couple. I'm like, that's fucking great, but I'm
Yeah,
so tired.
your teacher's mentality is what I try to do. Is like try to get as much work as I had as done as possible as soon as possible, so I don't forget about it and turn it in late, and like do have time to do everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
But like this
It's
semester, like all of my work is like there's reasonable due dates and stuff. But like one project for my sound design class, right,
hmm
is I need to do multiple things with multiple microphones and record various sounds.
huh.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have a shotgun mic, which is the ones we record on. I have a condenser microphone, but I don't have a dynamic one. I need to go get that from the DMD Stanford campus. And I still don't know how to do that because at stores you just email this one guy, and he would just okay, what time do you want to pick it up? What time are you going to drop it off? And you just go pick up the equipment and bring it back the next day or something. This one I'm
Super
not sure.
shitty.
I have to email him about like yeah, how do I get access to the Stanford campus even though I'm a store student? So
Huh. Okay.
yeah.
That sounds
But
like kind of shady. He has to get.
but we have like 2 to 3 weeks to do this, right?
Uh-huh.
So like I'm not the worst for time. And plus like
Right.
I'm probably gonna need you to come help me out a bit to like get like some sort of like multiple conversation going, just because like that's one of the requirements.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can help you with that.
Yeah, but a lot of me is just like kind of okay. sit the microphone out and play something and like do something inside this room in like 3 different environments. I'm like, okay, with 3 different mics. I'm
Scream
like,
into the
okay.
mic. Ah!
That's one of the things though. You have to do a conversation into the mic from like 3 different angles and locations of the microphone position. You know?
Why are you in the bathroom? You talking to me?
Yeah, that'd be funny though. Do in the bathroom, have the echo.
Yeah. Why do girls only like guys who treat them like trash?
Gosh.
Why do girls? Oh no,
Why do
really
guys
cool.
like bimbos like her?
Why are you in the
Why in the
bathroom?
bathroom?
Talking to me?
uh,
uh,
I'll say this:
uh, yeah. What did you
Instagram's
say?
meme game is kind of weak. Because like I have multiple accounts on Instagram, right? I have the
Mm-hmm.
studio, I have the my usual one, and my art one, for my and for the Pokemon and like for TCG and stuff, my VTuber
Yeah.
one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah. But when I realized like, oh, managing like a bunch of social medias at once is really hard.
Oh, I'd assume. I mean, it's like even having one, I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to deal with it. So
Exactly. It's
hearing
like
you have to take care of three is like,
I
fuck.
know, right? It's like I want to post, but like I just don't want to post, you know? Because like
Yeah.
because Instagram has no easy way of uploading a file from the computer, and that's such a bullshit thing to do. Even though it's fucking Facebook at this
And
point.
you always want to make sure you're not posting the wrong thing or something that you might think would be like inappropriate
Exactly.
later. It's like,
So like
fuck.
I
Especially
yeah. So
nowadays.
I do all my animation on my main PC, right? The computer we record on usually. So like I do it
Yeah.
on that. I export it to MP4. I take it over to my hard drive, my external hard drive, right? And I export it to there. Then I go to my MacBook. I go to my MacBook and then I airdrop it to my phone. And then from my phone, I just do it there. But it'd be so much easier if I was able to just upload from web browser, you know?
The wonders of animation, folks. Isn't it
I
the
know,
best?
I know. But I'm
So
learning
simple,
more.
so easy.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of like learning animation, right? So I created like a slideshow for class for my
Yeah.
advanced motion class because this is one of the requirements. Like we need an inspiration
Oh,
presentation.
daily
So
life inspiration. Oh, oh boy.
I started off right with the whole like, oh, just because you mix 2D and 3D together doesn't mean it's gonna be trash. Obviously, is that you need to stylize it properly, right?
Yes,
So
that's absolutely true.
So like my main thing is like, oh, using 3D in a 2D space. That's the title of the presentation, right?
Hmm.
But when I got towards it, right, I kind of sort of devolved into sort of like just talking about style overall, which is a part of it, but
Yeah,
like it shouldn't be the main conversation.
it's hard. It's hard not to talk about it. I mean, it's a very key part of it. But yeah,
Right?
no.
Because like I showed you like an episode of Lupin the Third, but like then I showed you the movie, right?
Yes.
So, and you agree like the 3D one by Martial Animation is just like so far removed from like what we expect for like an anime 3D movie to be like
Yeah.
that it
I
looks
mean,
really well. It looks really
it
well
did.
consistently done.
It depend. It really does like depend on how much time you're willing to spend on it too. Like
That is
we
true,
obviously
yes.
yes.
But then
And I
I do bring up the Dragon Ball Super stuff though, like because like
oh
it's one of those things where it's like the style does not just come from this one person. It comes from a multitude of people, from the director, from the art supervisor, you know, because
mm-hmm.
from beginning of Super, right, it was really like 2 pixel line animation, line art, right? But then when you got
Yeah.
to like the end of like the multiverse tournament arc, right? We had depth of field. Basically, we had more distinguished and more more different line work.
Yeah, and it helps the experience overall.
Exactly, and that's
Good
why I said
CG. Oh, I'm sorry.
that's why I said like, oh yeah, overall style keeps the viewer engaged.
Yes. Good CG should, it sucks, but like good CG shouldn't be noticed, and bad CG it gets noticed a lot. That's the
Yeah.
trick. It's
Oh,
like
I got.
if your CG is good, no one will care.
Yeah, no one will
That's
care.
that truth.
It's one of those things too where it's like, oh, Pixar has kind of like pushed the limit of like how what CG is.
Yeah.
It's one of those things
It-
where they raise the bar so high that no one else could do it with if they're not Pixar, and that's a problem that a lot of people face, right? Because in anime, right, you need to outsource this thing because not a lot of companies do 3D work per se.
mhm.
Because
Yeah, and it's not.
you'll see like a bunch of outsourcing to CloverWorks. which is the main one who did a lot of the compositing and like stuff for Wonder Egg Priority and for Horimiya, which is one of the probably the best 2 anime out there currently. I'll say this: Cloverworks is probably better than Mappa.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say from a traditional animation standpoint, I do think that they would do a much better job, I think, than Studio Mappa. Eh,
Mappa, Mappa, Mappa,
Mappa,
Maga, Studio
Mappa,
Maga.
Maga.
But
I
you
mean, I
agree with
think
me. But like
yes, I
Studio
agree.
Mappa's like CG isn't consistent enough to be like, you know.
Yeah, I do. Well, I was just thinking of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like they do the same. Thank God they have all their fights in a forest because that CG forest really comes in
It's
handy.
I know. It's just one of those things where it's like it's good that they're using the CG, but then again, it does feel like a little bit bland in the backgrounds.
People like it. They like the fact that it's sort of like a three. Like yeah, they've got the cool
Oh yeah,
like
you can work
pan.
with 3D. Yeah, definitely. And that's what
Yeah,
I brought up with sort of the guy who works on Fire Force, the freelance guy who did episode 4 when Charon slams Shinra through the fucking
yeah,
walls of the
yeah, yeah,
building.
yeah.
I showed you that breakdown, right? And I included that inside my
Yes.
presentation. I was like, yeah,
Oh, so
no.
cool.
If he'd obviously use like the shittiest 3D software like Blender, which is a free open source software, just to do simple things like this, and it works really well, just because it's stylized properly to be a sort of like looks 2D, you know, with like these kind of like cartooning outlines and like the movement of the camera.
Yeah, you don't need to spend like $50 million on a shot if you already know the process and you can think of a much easier solution. I mean, that's the trick to filmmaking is like, what's the
Well,
easiest way with the least amount of
exactly.
budget?
That's like animation in a nutshell. How do I make
Yeah,
these
pretty
pictures
much.
move? How do I make these pictures move with the limit with the lowest amount of pictures possible?
And I will say this about Studio Mappa, like from an animation standpoint, it's not to say it's bad because like the fights in JJK are not bad. They're good, but there's a
You know,
lot
they're
of
really
parts
well
where it's
done.
very
It just
slow and the
yeah,
characters are
they
just kind of standing there for no
they definitely
reason.
use the CG as a background and not sort of like an encompassing thing because they do rely heavily like for that fight scene with between main pro tag and Scarface, whatever his name was, inside his own little dimension, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was mainly 2D.
That was neat. That was Mahito, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Was
mainly
Mahito? Yeah.
that's basically 2D at that point. So it's like you're cutting from like this very large schoolyard just to something like this. It's kind of like okay, yeah, you're literally just using CG for background, so that's fine, and that's fine. It's just like
Yeah.
it's kind of disappointing that you're using like of like 3D software and not using it for a 3D aspect.
No, yeah. Did you use Great Pretender as a reference as well? Because that actually has pretty good CG.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
I didn't put that. I didn't think of that yet. But like, I'm trying to like do it like, oh, in order to use like CG correctly, you gotta make it blend in and make it sort of fast and unknowingly, you know?
yeah, I would suggest like take a look at the cars because the cars are
Oh
like
yeah,
super
yeah,
well
yeah, yeah.
done and the doors and everything. Like, I'm like, yeah, that looks CG, but man, I can't really tell.
It's stylized in the world that you don't really care.
Yes, exactly.
And that's and the other stuff I bring up in that presentation is like, oh yeah, like if like outsourcing is completely common inside major filmmaking. Like just look at the Avenger movies. Like there's just one powerhouse in New Zealand that does everything for them. They outsource the
Yeah.
CG budget to what you call that studio who does the Hobbit films, I think.
Oh God. I'll have to look it up,
Yeah,
but I
it's
forget the name.
it's something like some New Zealand thing. Yeah, it's the one same one who did like Planet of the Apes and like that kind of stuff. You know.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's just like they don't have the budget to do it in house, and that's fine. And a lot of things that I don't think people realize about animation is that not everything is done in house. You're gonna outsource
Oh,
certain
absolutely
things to
not. Yeah.
certain people. Like in Japan, right? They'll outsource certain in between parts to Korea, and then they'll get those back, and then they'll put it all together in compositing and coloring and stuff. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point of freelance animators too. Is like if you're a freelance animator, you're going to be hired. That's the kind of the idea, you know.
Exactly.
They
Yeah. Right.
can't do everything, so they'll hire you.
Right. It's just like yeah, because like the workflow for Japanese animation is not too complicated. You just need to understand like the color coding system they use.
Mm-hmm.
Because like
And
when you
it Yeah.
You know,
Sorry.
you go ahead first.
No. You're. I was just
Okay,
gonna
so like
confirm on yours.
yeah. So like basically, when you learn the animation workflow for anime specifically, you need to learn that okay, you have certain color lines for certain to different certain like shadings, and then you go from there. You do certain colors to color in light parts, dark parts, medium parts, that kind of stuff, and then from there you'll send it off to your animation supervisor basically. He'll go back and be like, okay, fix this, this, and this. Once you fix that, we'll send it off to the to the line artist, and then they'll do all the line work and coloring. Right?
Yep. Exactly. And then the After Effects in the post team can do whatever they want.
Yeah. Honestly,
And
right? It's one of those things where it's like you probably have one or two guys working together on the same project with the director of photography, which is the
mm-hmm.
cinematographer basically. When you get to that when you basically get to that point, you're kind of like, oh yeah, basically, if we do this right,
Mm-hmm.
the no matter what you do, just because you drew it doesn't mean you have the final say over it, right? It's
No,
the
not at
main
all.
director of photography that has to sign like, okay, I want the light here, here, and here, and then that's it.
As an animator or storyboarder, be prepared to be very disappointed at times because your work may not be featured most of the time, or at least
No,
a
you're
vast
like
sum of it will just be like discarded in the
yeah.
process.
You'll. That's why a lot of stuff is done on fucking sticky notes, just because you just need to move shit around constantly. That having one like, just like having a solid board or like having a solid like piece of
Yeah,
paper would be take too much time off. It's more efficient just draw on sticky notes, post them up, move them around, and just do all that
exactly.
jazz.
Yeah, and it's like what's good about the class in visual development that I'm learning right now is that they're teaching us the very very basic foundations of how to set up a shot, and like telling teaching us like basic shape size, like what to prioritize
Well,
when
yeah,
doing.
that's what my school doesn't do that well because it's all divided into concentrations, right? We don't have to take a general
Yeah,
class on filmmaking if you're 2D animation because it's considered motion graphics and motion animation. You know?
yeah, exactly. And it's your school is not as, I mean, SVA is
Yeah,
fucking.
SVA is SVA. It's like I go to fine arts school like as a state. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
two completely different
No
leagues.
offense to UConn, but I don't think it's the number one. Unless it's in puppetry, then
Oh
you
yeah,
got
no, you
that.
got puppet. Oh, okay. So for you got puppetry is actually really really good, just because like it's the only like school that actually offers puppetry.
Yeah,
Because like so
you're the
much of
best in the
puppetry,
Northeast.
yeah. Because a lot of like pretty much the center of puppetry like is in Connecticut and Massachusetts, right?
hmm
A lot of times they just like even like the Sesame Street stuff, like it's like a bunch of like UConn graduates go to Sesame Street just because they know how to operate the puppets.
Yeah, I mean, it's aside from women's basketball, UConn has always had like this the puppetry thing, and I've not been one for puppetry, personally speaking,
Yeah.
but I can tell you this: there are some pretty cool shit out there that people have made via VFX that honestly are just
I
like
mean, just look at the entire Star Wars series. That's puppetry
yeah,
right there. You fucking kidding me? Just like look at Star Wars. Puppetry is not for kids. Or puppetry
no,
is for kids. What do you mean? Animation,
exactly.
puppetry, arts is for everyone.
All mediums are fun. They can all be watched and enjoyed,
Exactly. It's
just
just like
depending.
you get
Yeah,
the Jim Henson puppets from
let the kids watch the isekai. What could go
yeah
wrong? Not redo of Hero
uh
though. Do not let them
yeah
watch redo of Hero. That's a no no.
yeah no. But what have you been watching? We've gone on half an hour about complaining about our schoolwork. What have you been watching recently?
Well, I've been going on a bit of a reading rage right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've read, let's see what I've read. Pull up the site that I use. Um, Give me a second. Currently am reading Reincarnation of Bookworm again because it's been a while since I've
You
read
gotta
it.
keep yourself
So I
up to
was just
date.
like, yeah. And I was just like, fuck it, I'll read it again because it's like the best isekai that I've read. Don't at me. But yeah, I've read
Yeah,
like
honestly, I'll say that is a pretty big choice for a lot of people that know of
yeah.
it.
I read the reincarnated as as an aristocrat with I've been on like a fucking isekai
I
binge for
binge.
some reason because there's nothing else to read. Like I've been trying to find other stuff,
I
but
know,
it's
right?
like,
There's nothing else to read online.
uh, I read the newest Goblin Slayer chapter. I read the new Jujutsu Kaisen. I've read a new Berserk chapter, which was nice. I'm super pumped for Dragon Ball Super.
Oh my god, yeah. The manga.
The manga's going
Dude,
really hard right now, which is like, whew,
dude, the Boruto manga? Just Jesus Christ, it's so good.
I still haven't read it. I know, I
It's
know.
it's
I've heard.
actually getting there, and even the anime is getting there too. Because it's getting to the arc with Karma and stuff.
Okay, I heard that he's trying to take Sasuke's route. Or Boruto is, I think. That's what I heard.
Yeah,
But
he's trying to be like a lone ninja kind of thing.
is Naruto dead yet? Actually, don't tell me.
Not yet, not yet. Well, I'm actually waiting to see if he actually dies or not, just because of the latest chapter. But you should read it on the
The two
manga
characters
plus.
that absolutely should be dead by now are All Might and Naruto at this point. Like,
Yeah,
thematically
I
speaking,
mean,
it would
I
make
think
sense.
Naruto might happen sooner or later, just because of what happened in the latest chapter. But you should read it; it's definitely really good.
Yeah, yeah. And then, yeah, I read My Hero as well. Obviously, we're going into the time skip now, which I don't know if I like the fact that we're living off at a point where like finally people have died and finally the stakes have been
Yeah,
risen, where it's like, okay, great, now we're gonna be.
I don't think it's gonna be a time skip. I do think it's gonna be out for a while.
Yeah, no, I don't know how
I
long Midoriya is gonna be in a sleep, but
I don't. Comatose, I'll say this: he's probably going to have like a 2 to 3 chapters of just the internal workings of All for One or One for All. You
yeah,
know, because he had that
yeah,
shit before.
he's gonna meet the younger brother and they're gonna have a
Probably,
talk or whatever.
probably, yeah. So they're probably gonna be like, oh yeah, this is, or he's gonna probably going. This is probably going to bring up the other parts of like all One for All's ability. You know,
Yeah.
because like he already got Black Whip right, and he already did the Flight one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now he's the ninth, so I think
He's a nice.
he
So
has
we have Strength.
Black
Okay,
Whip,
Black
Flight.
Whip, Transfer Power, and Flight. So there's technically 7 because All Might was quirkless.
Yeah.
So there's like 2 more to
So
go. There's 2 more to go, which isn't bad.
2, 3 more to go. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which isn't
Which
bad.
is no, not at all. I mean,
Definitely could
if
be
one of
arc.
them,
Yeah, definitely could be arced out within like the next arc. Definitely.
yeah. No, I think they're gonna plan for much longer, because they're gonna milk this shit as much as they want.
You
But
think they're gonna hit
I'm
the
excited.
reset button?
Yeah, exactly. Let him have a kid.
Yeah.
Fuck it, give him a kid. Um, and then like also, let's see. I'm excited because I heard that Kubo, I forget his whole name, but the guy behind Bleach
Oh, Titan
and
Kubo. Yeah, he's making a
like
new anime series.
yeah, and he's having a meeting or he's having an interview, co-interview with the guy or person behind Jujutsu Kaisen, the author, which is like,
Yeah.
oh, if like that'd be cool if they did a series together with Kubo's art and his writing is like,
His writing's pretty
eh.
good. It's pretty good.
He
I
did
do
make
think
Soul Society, so
I do think
dependent.
shit gets like pushed forward for stuff. But I'm really
Yeah,
excited for Chainsaw Man the second arc to appear on Jump Plus.
yeah. I've got to finish the first. I've heard about certain things,
The ending of
but
the first arc, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, woo! I don't want to go too into it, but yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, like otherwise, in terms of anime overall and shit I've watched, I let's see. I mean, I've been keeping up with JJK and every other shonen series. I've been trying to keep up with as much as I can. But obviously, I've been delving into the deeps of manhwa. And is
Yeah.
manhwa the Korean one or the Chinese one? I
Korean.
forget. All
Korean.
right, what's the Chinese one? Because I've also been
I
delving
don't
into.
I don't think there's one for Chinese.
Whatever. I mean, I've been delving into those, which some are okay, some are not.
Yeah, a lot of
The
Chinese is just, yeah, like you said, it's power fantasy trash.
Yeah, it really is. It's a lot of power fantasy trash that like it's a Chinese one because
Yeah.
they'll have a full fucking page of text telling you in the ancient Zhao period of the Qing dynasty. I'm like, bro, what? Why? I don't understand. They're like, I skip the page,
What do you
and then
mean?
I'm,
I'm just reading another chapter of Hunter x Hunter.
oh my god. Oh my
Yeah, but
fucking
I
god.
do think there's a balance between certain things that you need to understand of like writing and actual artwork inside a graphic novel or a comic.
Yeah, if you dump a full fucking exposition page on the first like page of the first chapter of a series, you're not gonna get people invested. I mean, like
Yeah.
it's certainly not like shows like Avatar and Lord of the Rings that give you a summary of the general history of the world are usually just kind of quick and concise. I mean, they kind of at least they show
Yeah.
you like what happens too. Like they kind
Yeah.
of try to make it as easy to follow as you can.
They follow
But
the Chinese follow the rule of tell don't show.
yeah, and the show stuff isn't really that impressive.
I know.
The
It's one of those
art
things.
wise, it's very character focused,
Yeah.
and backgrounds aren't that important.
I mean, it's not like it's such a that's an artist thing though, because like a good character artist might not be the greatest with backgrounds, obviously, you know.
No, yeah, and I've noticed that like they'll substitute it with digital background, where they'll just kind of have 3D objects set as the actual background itself, and then we'll just draw the or like drag the characters in and make have it fit, which works in some cases. I mean, I don't complain.
Yeah.
As long as it makes it like I understand where I am and what's happening, it's like okay, that's fine.
Yeah. A lot of manhwa for me is basically just porn.
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely true.
Koreans are
I
horny.
oh yeah, I also read Jobless Reincarnation. I finished it.
Oh, you did? How'd you like it?
Yeah, yeah, it was really good. I actually fucking cried. Um,
Wow.
it was there are very few series that have actually made me cry, and fewer than isekai. Like isekai never like I'm always usually bored by fucking isekai
Mhm.
because they're just power fantasy always. The only ones that have ever gave me any semblance of emotion were, Jobless Reincarnation and Reincarnation of a Bookworm because those were more personal human stories
Yeah.
that were like really hard for the characters to go through.
When's
But
when's the last time I cried about anything? For especially like with like a visual kind of thing.
oh,
I think the last time I cried was watching Lord El Malloy with you. I'm
yeah.
cause at the end, cause like dude, at the end when he has a dream with Iskander, it's like yeah,
Oh fuck.
writer. I'm like, oh, it hits too
Oh,
hard. It hits too hard.
it hits so hard. I like, and yeah, I mean, like something like that, where it's like you've known the characters for so long, and the payoff's gonna happen eventually. And it's like when you finally see it, you're like, oh
Hmm.
man. And that's what I mean, like why I love Jobless Reincarnation so much. Um, is because I won't spoil too much for people who don't know because the anime has just been released and it looks fantastic. But it's like it feels like it's gonna be your regular power fantasy shit at the
Yeah.
beginning, and you're like, oh great, okay, well I'm gonna enjoy this for the next some odd chapters, and like it was going fine before, and I was like having a good time because the character has flaws and he's not perfect. I'm like, that's fine, I like that. He's gonna prove himself. And then the thing happened, and that changed fucking everything. And I was like, oh, okay, this isn't a, oh, all right, this is taking a turn that I was not expecting. And
Right.
boy, howdy, like when, okay, so I want to get into spoilers really bad, so I apologize, but skip to, I don't know, just you might want to turn off for a bit. We'll tell you to come back or whatever. The part where Rudy meets up with his dad again after coming back from the fucking
Hmm.
monstrous journey that he went on, and his dad fucking being like, "You couldn't have done anything else," was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you son of a bitch!" Ah, I cried. I was like, "Dude, this is
I
this is
know.
not cool," but it was good. It's a good time. I
Yeah.
had fun with it.
That's good though. You're having con emotional connections to a book.
The dad is such a cunt. I hate. Sorry, twunt. He's such a twunt. I hate him.
It's fine. Cunt's fine.
Yeah. Sorry. He's such a jerk. Oh God. I mean, he's alright. He's got like some redeeming qualities, but
Yeah.
otherwise, other series. Have you already watched anything, Davis?
I'm continuing watching that show that I showed you last time, the 3D Idol show.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
The one I showed you. Like
Seriously good. Like
the
actually,
it looks well done. It's just that I do think the models look a little bit weird just because of the art style and like the modeling, you know.
yeah.
But like overall, it
I
has a nice feeling to it. The story's not that bad. I just do think they get the shit majority of the time. It's just the animation. That's fine.
I honestly think that eventually we will get to the point where we will have good CG anime, but
So
it just will depend.
so basically just B stars.
Yeah, just Beastars. Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that has some 2D elements mixed in, but that's fine
Yeah.
because, it's what art is. You got to mix it. And
Yeah. But I think reading wise, I'm only reading rom coms like Horimiya and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So like it's pretty much I lead others to something I cannot attain. I'm gonna read Skull Charlie.
Yeah, there
Um,
was another series that I read. It was a rom-com. Fuck, what was the name of it? Something stupid. Totally forgot.
my girlfriend's
Oh,
a witch or whatever.
my girlfriend. No, it was shit. It'll come back to me. I gotta like look it up again.
Yeah.
But it was some kind of stupid fucking
Some stupid
uh
rom like titled, you know.
oh, I get it. My co-hate teases me or whatever. I forgot the exact name of it. It's with the chick that has that funny expression on her face the entire
Oh,
time.
it's don't please don't whatchamacallit, Uzaki-chan? Uzaki?
I think that's the
Big
name.
tits?
Yeah,
Big
please don't
tits?
bully me, Nagatoro.
Naitaro?
That's
No,
it.
that's different. That's different. That hits hard. I'll say that. That's a really good read. Cause
Yeah,
that's Nanashi. He's a hardcore hentai artist. Like I'll say that outright. He's a hardcore hentai artist, but like he made that rom com. It's really well done. Like
it
honestly,
is.
from the expressions to the overall just like sincerity of some points, it's just like yeah, it's obviously a girl just crushing on her
On her.
senpai really hard. It's just that a lot of people just don't see it that way just because of like how people cherry pick it, you know?
Yeah. No, I totally get you. I had such a fun time reading it. It was like I love her. Like she's so fun,
I know.
and the comedy's so great. Oh fuck. I
Um,
Yeah, that was a good one.
yeah.
What else
Don't
did I?
Tease Me Nagatoro is definitely probably the best out of all. Like, cause they have like the core that publisher. It's Uzaki Nagatoro. One of my favorites, which is the beautiful boss Tanazaki, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
I think I've
translation
seen
for the
that one.
title is like it's beautiful woman boss Tanazawa. Which is it's just fine. It's fine. It's just really cute and adorable, that one. And then they also have one for another one, but I forget because the other one's kind of forgettable.
Yeah, no, it's like so many rom-coms that like I've read a few. Like I have to finish. You know what I have to finish? I have to finish what's it? The da be da be do da 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 da
Kaguya.
Kaguya-sama.
Kaguya is overrated. It's overrated.
I mean, I had fun with it for what it was worth. I still have to go back and read it again. It got a little dark at some point. I
I think
forget when.
the manga is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, I had fun reading it. I just listened to the song and then read it, and I'm like, oh, I'm in the show. Woohoo! Pretty much. And then I also read the newest chapter for Kaiju 8, Kaiju number 8, which was
Oh yeah,
fucking
Monster Number 8 is
great.
really good.
So short though, I was like, damn it, man, 16 pages. You fucking kidding me? Ah, I feel like that's one of the series though I'm gonna have to like wait for a while, like
Yeah,
to get like just to like get the whole thing, because like it's beautifully done and I love the story so far, but I think I'm just gonna wait for a while.
yeah. This is one of those things too where it's like I look at my manga reading list and I sort by ratings, right? So like obviously the
Mm-hmm.
highest rating ones are like obviously the good ones that I follow, but then I scroll down and like there's a lot of like trash.
Oh yeah, no. For every like one good manga, there's usually like five that are just kind of like either meh or not good at all.
I
But
know. It's
you just don't have anything else to read, so you just bypass the time. Like I could tell you,
right.
like I've read a few that I'm just like, why the fuck did I ever decide to read this?
I know, right?
Eh,
But like you get to the point where it's just like you can't.
yeah, there's like
It
nothing you
doesn't
can
matter anymore.
find, and I try to pick as many as I can and go back and look up names of certain ones that I heard about from
Yeah.
other people,
It's kind of weird
and
too, cause like it's kind of like when you pick up these things, it's like, what happened? Why did I pick this up in the first place? Then you go back and it's like, oh, that's why.
yeah, and you know what really sucks is like when I find a new one and it looks cool, but then I see like 50 chapters or like 25 chapters, and I'm like, do I really want to get invested in this when it's only like at 30, 25 chapters? Sure, fuck it, why not? I'll come back to it later. And of course, like I get hooked, but then I'm like, I can't read anymore.
Yeah. Like scrolling down my list, right? When I sort by the lowest ratings, I'm like, yeah, I can see how some of this is like pretty trashy, but then I get to the points where I'm like, how is this rated like a 4 on my list just because of like how of like what of the story content? No. I feel like if like a rating should be decided like on the overall scale, you know?
You know how to do it? It's just basically they're like, got tits? Yeah, she's got tits. All right.
All
On the
right,
board.
not even. It's like a lot of the stuff that
Guy's got a dick. He's got a dick on the board.
stuff like cool Koreansha. Like if it's not like a heartfelt like story, then like it's gonna be like a 5 or a 7. I'm like, dude, come on. Like how like people who rate it low probably have a fucking vendetta against whatever the story content, and I hate that. I hate when people
Yeah.
review bomb shit.
People don't like dealing with a hard story. That's what it is. People just like to turn their brains off when it comes to like for specifically for isekai. That's why people like it so much sometimes is
I
that
know.
they'll see an easy power fantasy and be like, I'll tear my brain off for that. But then when they read something that's really harsh and like, and I understand that totally. It's like, I don't want to be bummed out for the week after reading a really heart wrenching story like Vinland Saga.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
but if you want to read something good and thought provoking, then you gotta bear with it because, obviously the best stories are ones of hardship. You can't
Mm-hmm.
just be like, I want to win every single day. That becomes fucking boring unless you're, One Punch Man, then they make it interesting. But it's whatever. Or Mob Saga is a pretty good example too.
Yeah, it's one of those scenes where it's like, because like everything's such okay. When you get to like the higher shit, right? It's probably rated to like nines and like nines and a half. Because nothing's a perfect 10, obviously. I don't think I've ever
Yeah,
seen a perfect 10 anywhere.
guys, Cowboy Bebop is the greatest anime of all time. Give it a 10, please. No.
It's a good anime. I do think it's probably up to good, but it's not for everyone. That's the thing.
My Hero
I
Academia is the second coming of Christ. Give it a 10.
But like I feel like a bunch of shit on my list, right? It's like this stuff like over here is like obviously sees like what I like as a whole, you know,
Yeah, no, it's like it shows your preference.
as a reader, and it's
A
just
lot
like,
of porn there, Davis. Got something to explain yourself?
you're not wrong. I think the highest. Okay, so let's look at that. Out of the 443 titles I've read, highest rated one is fucking Yotsubato, which is a
Oh
slice of
my
life
god.
manga. It's a slice of life manga. So like a
Mm-hmm.
couple ones are like Mob Psycho, Goku Fudo, Way of the House Husband, Gekigan Shoujo, like Gintama. Like these are really good ones.
Yeah,
But like I
really
do I
strong.
really think like they're up there like to be like kind of called these perfections? No. Like all like even the rom coms are like they're pretty like bland overall as like a story wise. Oh, they're just two couples like working together. Like very few rom coms actually do romantic stuff, romantic drama correctly. I'll say that.
I have to go
You know?
back and reread Gintama because I loved it reading it first time around, but I don't know why. I think I got to like the last arc, then halfway
Yeah.
through I was got busy or something.
Yeah, because the last arc, he got kept hitting with delays, and that's the thing.
Yeah, no, it was going on for so long. I was like, I can't keep up right now. I have other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, But definitely, I mean, because like the thing is nowadays, like I'm running out of long running series to read because old series go on for like 600 something chapters, and I'm like finding those is like finding a white whale,
I
you
know.
know. But of course, the Chinese manga that are just like 300, 400, 900 chapters. I'm like, yeah, but the pages are like 10 or 5 pages each, so I don't think that counts.
Yeah. Well, and like yeah, even looking back on it, it's just like shit is obviously like the cutest and like the good stuff like it's always top tier, and that kind of pisses me off because like it's like you can have nudity and like have like a drama be pretty good. Because in my list, there's not a lot of shit that's actually like a drama. It's all rom coms that perform really well, and like all the like other shit fails hard, you know?
Yeah, no, because once again, people don't like, people like to turn their brain off and have fun, but once again, the best stories are usually hidden behind, you know, way in the back, or at least far enough back that people don't really recognize them as much on the mainstream media, which is a shame. Because all seinen all seinen series should get way more recognition than they already have, but Shonen Jump, that's how it goes.
I know.
Four Horsemen. I mean, like I will say, Kingdom can be a bit of a slog to get through at times, but it's really solid. Vinland Saga is like a fucking amazing. Berserk is really really good if it ever ends. And then what was the fourth one? Um, There was another really big one that was like, oh, Vagabond, right? Oh God, that's
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about Vagabond. That one's never going to end. Maybe it will. I don't know if the director, or if the author ever decides to go back and finish it, but don't think so.
Yeah. It's also one
What
of those
weebs
things.
here on this?
Yeah, looking back on my list, right? It's like there's so much that I want to be animated. There's so much good shit that's ended that I want to be animated.
I mean, fuck it. If Redo of Healer can get an anime, I don't
I
understand why.
know.
Like,
It's like if the trash could get it, why can't the good shit get it, right?
yeah, I fucking, I don't know, bro. It's
It's
people
like
just.
I know, right? It's like one of those things that's like this only like for the amount of money you put into it, you probably get a lot more out of it out of like sales and stuff.
I don't know, man. People just like porn. I mean, I can't lie. It's a pretty lucrative business.
I know, right? It's such garbage. I hate
Hey,
it.
Davis, you want to sell yourself on the black market? We can make bank on the company then.
We only need one kidney anyway, Charlie.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck it, Davis. Let's make a porn video.
Yeah.
Let's make a porn video, Davis. Let's do it.
I mean, honestly, did I tell you what Wasim told me at the end of my senior year?
No, what do you say?
He was like, "Yeah, if you ever go into film, right, the porn industry needs everybody. So it's like there's obviously work out there for us."
Be the cock fluffer.
The fluffer. Oh my god, it's hilarious.
Or was it the cunt, or no, it was
The fluffer, yeah.
cock fluffer, yeah. Oh my god. Shout out to The Boys season 2, by the way.
I know, right?
I don't know. Should they make a season 3? I guess I guess they probably will. Yeah, they probably will. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for Great Pretender season 3. Should be season 2, but whatever. I don't know if we ever talked about that on the podcast about Great Pretender or anything like that.
Yeah.
But to give you the quick lowdown, everybody, I watched it. I loved it. It was fantastic. Can't wait for season 3. But really, the 2 seasons should be just counted as 1 season. To give you the summary, in my opinion. Also, the ending was good, but there were some parts that were kind of confusing and didn't really make sense to me. But overall, I loved it. So, yeah. What else? What else did I see? Been watching a couple shows on Netflix. Nothing's really been keeping my eye, as usual. What a surprise. Finished Disenchantment season 3, which is like like the Simpsons Futurama style. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it was good. I had fun with it. They do this thing though. It's very weird where they'll have a scene and then they'll make this weird cut to another entirely different thing that's happening or something that's very like unrelated. And like they'll do the shotgun effect where they'll have like 50 million different plot threads going on at the same time and they'll cut between like 5 of them. And I swear like I went to the third season. I already watched the first two, but it's been a long time since I've seen the show. I forgot
Mhm.
about like I didn't know how many for like they mentioned characters that I totally forgot about, and I'm like, oh shit, there was oh fuck, they went to hell, and oh I totally forgot about that. Oh yeah, the elves are oh okay, and I there's so many things that they just bring up that I'm like, well you could have like brought that up again, or like kind of did like a recap. No, okay. And of course it ends on like a weird cliffhanger, but it's like this kind of the thing of the show. I like the fact that it's you know doing all this cool stuff, but yeah, overall I liked it. I think it's the best season so far, but because like I think they finally found a good balance between comedy, episodic comedy, and a long running story, which is cool.
Mhm. I mean,
And then
it's one of those things where it's just like I feel like action comedies can do fairly well. It's just that I feel like it's probably the best to like do certain things that like are unusual and like to do certain shots, you know?
yeah, and it's a show too, so it's hard to kind of space out all the jokes and have a great sort of um, writing for every single episode. It's not unless you like take a very long time. It's not really possible. And I mean, they do a great job production wise via backgrounds and characters, and everything looks great. I mean, they do CG pretty. They do it pretty smart where they like show like certain backgrounds or buildings or stuff. They'll have it CG mixed, like
Mm-hmm.
stylized, which is like that's really cool. That works well. Um, but overall, I think like jokes wise, a lot of them will hit, but some of them will miss, and it's like okay, at the beginning it was a lot more miss than hit, but as time went on, it got a lot better.
Yeah. I do think the shit probably ages better with time, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Definitely
this is
as long as you
definitely
keep
also
working, yeah, as long as you keep working hard on it, it's like you obviously make clear growth and stuff.
yeah. I mean, with like 50 trillion plot threads, this show's probably not going to end for another like 7 seasons, so they'll milk this for as long as they can.
Mm-hmm.
See.
Oh, one series I reread was what should we call it? The Teenage Renaissance David, which is the one about like the art like actually being like alive and stuff. So like
Oh,
personified. So
the
it's like oh
statue, right?
the statue of David's like personified as a teenager, which is really fucking funny.
Oh
And
yeah, I read
I
like
do
the
think
first
that
couple
that
pages.
deserved a fucking anime just because how weird it is, and it could be really good done like short like 5 minute like short form.
It wasn't my cup of tea, but I definitely think it was funny in some places. But I it was like, what the hell is this?
I know it's very weird, and I like that weird. You know,
Yeah, me too.
it's a good kind of weird.
It's definitely better than most. I would say like it's definitely better than just sex joke inserted here.
Yeah, right.
Ho ho. Still, in my opinion, the funniest anime of all time is Deep or was it something blue? Forget Grand Blue. That's
Grand
what it
Blue,
was.
yes, Grand Blue is pretty
Yeah,
good.
that is, in my opinion, like the funniest series I have ever read. It has made me bawling, like it made me bawling in laughter. Was
Yeah.
rolling on the floor, dying. So good. Every time I remember like a single one of the expressions, that always cracks a smile on my face. It's so perfect.
Yeah, right.
Uh, oh God, and it's still going, which is great.
Yeah.
That's the key. It's like every series that we've talked about, almost every single one has been going on still. So it's kind of a trick.
I know, right? Ugh.
Never end. Just never end. Just keep going. Don't stop. None of the isekais that I've read or mentioned will ever end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe Jobless
Always
Reincarnation,
adventure.
but yeah,
Always adventure.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but
Uh,
we got on for an hour. How do you feel, Charlie? Doing Discord
I think it works,
podcasts
but I definitely feel like it's more fun having it in
in
person.
person. Yeah.
Because one, I don't like interrupting you, and it's hard, sometimes because like Zoom will do the thing where it's, or like online will do the thing where you kind of just like cut in front of someone, and you're like, oh shit, my
Yeah, so
bad.
yeah, you go first, yeah.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I definitely think that I prefer in person because we
Yeah.
get our work done easier that way and all that shit. But
Yeah. If we get an apartment, we can work together forever, basically. You and me,
hey,
Charlie.
we can make
Uh,
porn for
uh,
days.
Charlie. 3 more seasons. So many
What
Charlies. Charlie and Davis forever. Charlie and
are you
Davis go to
talking about, Davis?
space.
Davis, what are you talking about? Davis,
All
what?
right. It's the end of Rick and Morty, basically.
Yeah.
Do you want to sign us off, Charlie?
All right, everybody. Have a good one. Be safe, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See ya.
Bye.